Monster movie season is here. October is when we start listing our favorite scary movies. The monster genre has come a long way, from the black and white vampire movies of the 30s to the deep, dark psychological horror of today. Today, Asian horror has become a genre on its own. The upcoming creepy crawler monster movie from Thailand, The 100, is bound to give you the heebie-jeebies. Let's take a look. First up, The 100 is releasing in cinemas across Thailand on 6th October, so just in time for those Halloween dates. It's directed by Chalit, Kraileadmongkon and Pakphum Wongjinda, and the trailer is enough to have you silent screaming if you decide to watch it at work. The basic premise seems to be that two social media stars check into a hotel for the 14 days of mandatory quarantine, after returning to Thailand from a foreign country. The movie's set at the height of the pandemic. Of course, there are a lot of other people in this group as well, a motley crew of tourists, siblings, YouTubers, and more. And they're all stuck in this hotel that seems to be infested with millions of centipedes. Yep, we said millions. But there's something worse lurking in the hotel, a giant centipede. But more on that later. Coming up, The 100 is part of a trio of creature features by Kraileadmongkon Film. That's a new film production and sales company, and it decided to make its market debut at Filmart Online with the trio of monster and horror films. This is building on the success of box office hit Four Kings. Filmart Online is Asia's biggest entertainment content marketplace. Leio was billed as an adventure comedy that followed a has-been singer, played by former pop star Pichaya Nitipaisalkul. The singer returns to his hometown and takes part in a water-field drilling contest in the hopes of winning a large cash prize. But what they don't realize is there's a mysterious beast lurking underground. Remember the Kevin Bacon classic Tremors? Sounds a bit like that. The second release by the studio is The 100. It's billed as an adventure thriller set in a quarantined hotel where those arriving from abroad stay in isolation to prevent the spread of COVID-19. But that's the least of their concerns, because they soon become prey to a strange breed of a 100-legged monster. The ensemble cast includes Mike Angelo, who was also in Rennie Harlan's The Misfits and is the twin brother of Pichaya. It also stars Chania McClory, who was in the second season of the hit Netflix series Girl from Nowhere. The third title on Kraileadmongkon's list is Inhuman Kiss the sequel. The romantic horror centers on a man born with abnormal genes and a half-demon woman, and all they want is to be accepted and loved. Let's take a closer look at what happens in the movie. If you love a good creature feature, then this is right up your alley. Possibly one for the Halloween list of movies to watch. The film is basically about a giant centipede and its spawn, and they're terrorizing all the guests of the hotel. Fame and Phil are siblings who are popular YouTubers. The trouble begins when they check into Srichanphen Hotel for a state-mandated 14-day quarantine during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Also in the group checking into the hotel is Leio, a quiet young man who arrives with his sister Lena and their father. And then there's Steve, an ill-tempered American in the hotel. And as a good horror plot would have it, they start encountering strange events. And by strange events, we mean swarms of centipedes crawling out of every nook and cranny of the hotel to attack these people. But there's worse to follow. It turns out there's a giant centipede on the premises too, and the smaller centipedes were just the beginning of the horrors to follow. Up next, there's more to this monster than just being a giant creepy crawly. Our protagonists Fame and Leo end up finding a mysterious dead body in a fire escape. And as they discover that the monster lurking in the hotel is a giant centipede, they find another fun fact about the creature. This monster can reside in the human body as a way of prolonging its existence. The centipede basically possesses the body of a person and takes on the human shape and even personality. It then looks for its next host, on and on. This adds another level of fear, as it's impossible to tell if any of the hotel guests is actually the monster in disguise. The giant centipede then finds out that Fame has a special blood type that enables it to live forever, and poor Fame suddenly becomes its prime target. Leo has to find a way to save Fame along with his father and sister by seeking a safe route out of the hellish hotel that is now surrounded by an army of killer centipedes. An army of killer centipedes. That is all, and more than enough to scare the life out of us. Lastly, it turns out that giant centipedes are a real problem in Thailand, which probably makes the movie that much scarier for the local audience. But they're not quite as big as the one in The 100, and hopefully they don't take on a human form either. The Thai summer is notorious for an influx of these creatures. They have been known to kill people too. Not only is the country home to giant red centipedes that live on the land, it's also where scientists first discovered a swimming centipede. The creatures always stay away from water, but this one was pretty comfortable in the water too. Maybe that could be the sequel to The 100, and this time it's set on a pristine beach resort in Thailand, where these monsters do their dirty work and swim back to the sea. So we have no idea about who done it. But for now, we're pretty terrified of being locked up in a hotel where the other guests are killer centipedes, all controlled by a giant shape-shifting boss of theirs. And if you love a good monster movie, we've picked out some of the creepiest ones from around the world. First up, the Japanese have an entire genre dedicated to giant monsters. It's called kaiju, and it translates to strange beast. It refers specifically to movies and TV shows about giant monsters. The word kaiju refers to the monster itself too. So usually these monsters are shown attacking major world cities and going up against mighty militaries, or even other giant monsters. The 1954 film Godzilla is commonly considered to be the first kaiju film. These monsters are often somewhat metaphorical in nature. Godzilla, for example, serves as a metaphor for nuclear weapons. It basically reflected the fears of post-war Japan after the atomic bombings of the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki and the Lucky Dragon 5 incident. Other examples of kaiju characters are Rodan, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and Gamera. King Kong also falls firmly in the genre. Up next are the monsters from outer space. Aliens are definitely monsters too, and they don't come in peace. Not in Hollywood at least. Starship Troopers is definitely one of our favorite films from the genre because it does take elements from the giant monster category too. It's set in the 23rd century and follows the exploits of the teenager Johnny Rico and his friends, who are serving in the military under the Earthworld government, the United Citizen Federation. Man's exploration and colonization of outer space brings them into conflict with an alien species known as arachnids, and this has now caused an interstellar war. Another great alien monster movie is Aliens with Sigourney Weaver. In deep space, the crew of a commercial airship is awakened halfway through their journey home by a distress call from an alien ship. The scary stuff begins when the crew finds a nest of eggs inside the alien ship. An organism from inside an egg jumps out and attaches itself to one of the crew, causing him to fall into a coma, and it just gets worse from then on. And lastly, there are the ones with regular animals gone rogue. Such movies are scary for the simple reason that sometimes even creatures that we're used to being around or seeing at the zoo can also turn on us. There's the classic Cujo based on a book of the same name by Stephen King. It's the story of a once gentle Saint Bernard. He contracts rabies as he gets bitten by a bat, and that's when he turns into a bloodthirsty hound, going around killing people. Then there's the Killer Baboon movie from 1990. Shakma is a hyper-aggressive baboon who's become this way because he's been experimented on by medical students. When he's only sedated instead of euthanized like he should have been, he escapes from his cage and begins killing the students one by one. Oh, and the students have been playing a bizarre role-playing game the same night, so all the fire alarms have been turned off and all the exits locked. Perfect! That's a wrap for this video. Does the 100 creep you out? And are you looking forward to a streaming service release for the movie? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.